Hello everybody, my name is Wren, and I love it when the media I'm engaging with doesn't treat kindness as a lame baby thing for lame idiot babies. Or to put it another way, I love when kindness is punk. As such, maybe those of you lucky enough to have seen the new Superman movie already can imagine just how excited I was while watching it. This might be the first and only video where the media is new enough for me to give a genuine spoiler warning, so here it is. Spoilers for Superman 2025, directed by James Gunn and made in association with DC Studios. There is so much I could talk about from this movie, but just for now, just to limit how much plot gets given away. Although, frankly, if I told you the whole plot, I think most of you would be able to enjoy the movie anyways, just for seeing how the cast and crew brought it all to life. Like, it's a good movie, not just a one and done. But yeah, just to keep things at a manageable scope, I want to talk specifically about one particular scene. It's a scene I expect will get talked to death in the coming months, and I think that if my prediction turns out to be wrong, then that fact will be a travesty. The scene is Lois bringing Clark a cup of hot chocolate and teasing him for claiming to be punk when to her mind he only likes the most commercially viable pop approximations of punk music. It comes hot on the heels of Lex kidnapping Krypto and a video of Superman angrily storming into Lex's office demanding to know where the dog is, going viral. It is a simple yet beautifully presented sequence with a very overt thesis statement. Kindness is punk. And that is to say punk as in kindness is an act of counterculture, not punk as in kindness is an aesthetic. This scene might also actually be load-bearing for the James Gunn universe or Gunniverse branch of DC movies, but that should probably be a different video. I promise I am going to try and keep the focus on kindness being punk. You see, Clark arrives home sometime after his confrontation with Lex, and we're talking a couple of hours at least because we have shifted from daylight to full night. In that time between scenes, Clark has been looking everywhere he could think of for Krypto. He is a little surprised to find Lois there waiting for him. He's been distracted, and last they spoke they'd had an argument, possibly their first important one since they'd started seeing each other, but that's not stated. With Krypto's existence and missing status as a safety rail, they start talking. David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan, in my humble opinion, make for a great Lois and Clark combo. They have a very natural feeling rapport that makes it very easy to fill in the blanks as to what their relationship progression might have looked like before the movie, even for folks that aren't even remotely close to the comic scene. There is a foundation of mutual respect and camaraderie that underlies their every on-screen moment. After their argument earlier in the movie, it's not too surprising that they use this quiet moment where so much is going on outside of them that has so many potential threats bearing down on them to try to resolve their conflict. For me, it came across as a way for them to affirm that they can still be there for each other whether they're romantically involved or not, especially since the scene ends with a hug rather than a kiss, and that circled right back into showing exactly why they work so well romantically. Naturally, they have to address the reason why they are at risk of not working as a couple, and Lois lays it at the feet of the differing ways they look at and have experienced the world. In her words, "I was just some punk rock kid from Bakerline, and you're Superman." To which Clark responds, only kind of pretending to be offended, "I'm punk rock." Which is how we get the lead-in for Lois teasing Clark about his basic taste in music. Which is very sweet and also gives Lois a natural path to further explaining the difference between them with the following dialogue. "My point is, I question everything. And everyone. You trust everyone and think that everyone you've ever met is, like, beautiful." To which Clark, correctly mind you, responds, "Maybe that's the real punk rock." Lois doesn't have a rebuttal. Just a slight smile as she takes a second to digest his response. Because of course he'd say something like that. She doesn't come across as surprised, just kind of reflective. It aligns with everything she knows about him and might even be why she likes him as much as she does. Of course, Clark Kent would think being trusting and finding beauty in others is punk rock. And thanks to her more cynical view on the world that tells her just how rare it is for people to keep choosing trust and kindness with how awful life can be, she knows he's right. Making that choice is counter to the noted cultural norm, and so deciding to trust and be kind is in fact punk. But we're not gonna stop at, oh, he said the thing, because the movie doesn't stop at, oh, he said the thing. Clark, Superman Kent, is a man of action. It is one of his greatest strengths as a character, as well as one of his greatest weaknesses. You may have seen this moment in the trailer.
People were going to die!
Some of you may even have seen this comic panel. And a few of you, like me, may even have seen the version that gets reposted around with this commentary by Runic Binary on Tumblr. Superman doesn't have the always prepared for everything character trait that basically defines perceptions of Batman. Superman is Clark Kent, a smart but almost completely normal guy who just happens to be orders of magnitude more powerful than anyone else on the planet, who is kind enough to want to use those powers to help people. And as a normal guy trying to be helpful in distinctly not normal circumstances, sometimes he fucks up. He has brain farts. He makes suboptimal choices trying to do the best thing he can do with the knowledge and skills he has at any given moment. Choices like turning himself over to the US government for arrest, knowing that they'll probably hand him over to Lex Luthor to be safely contained, because that's the best chance he has at finding the dog. The best part of this decision is that Clark knows it's a bad one. He's going to get himself arrested for a dog. Clark even goes so far as to admit Crypto isn't even a very good dog. Crypto has in fact been treating Clark and the Fortress of Solitude like toys to be destroyed all movie. In this universe, he isn't even Clark's dog. Clark just happens to be watching him for Supergirl. None of that changes a thing though. Because wherever Crypto is, he's out there alone and he's probably scared. So the best thing Clark can do to help is try to find him. Even if that means submitting to being arrested. All that means is Clark is going to have to trust the people around him to help him however they can to get out again. Because trusting others, finding beauty in them, choosing to be kind, that is punk. And he is punk rock. That is all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please do all the usual like, share, comment, subscribe stuff, and then get out there and watch the new Superman movie. Even if you have already gotten out there and watched the new Superman movie. Also, please remember to keep practicing hope. And just like Superman, don't be afraid to get punk about it.